I get it. You're tired of the current anime landscape. You're tired of the weekly Shonen Jump cycle. But you'd rather not watch an adult act like a child under the guise of a VTuber for 3 hours on end. So, what do? Do you A, go back to watching other anime? Maybe B, go outside, see the sun that you haven't seen in 4 years? Or C, do you go and discover something new, something fresh, something from the Asian marketplace, but not quite there? Yes, let me introduce you to Manhwa, the wonderful world of Chinese and Korean manga. Most of which has better budget than most manga, funnily enough. The line work's usually better, the colors are usually better. Hell, usually some of the stories are a bit better. Now, I'm not saying that manga is by any means dying out or is an old, disheveled media. Manhwa is the new age of the manga and anime landscape, as many have said before. However, after God of Mid-School, Tower of Dog, I could see why many people are turned off by Manhwa, but I am here to tell you that just because we had some shitty anime adaptations on Crunchyroll doesn't mean that you should not give Manhwa a chance. My fellow trash connoisseurs, my fellow anime titty connoisseurs, I am come to you today to spread the gospel of the 3 trashiest manhwa I have read so far and what they are to recommend to you. Because I believe this is something you would enjoy if you are over the current anime landscape, the current anime trends, the 5th season of fucking My Hero Academia. If you're tired of all of it, give these a shot. First, in no particular order, we have Immortal Swordsman in the Reverse World. A man who has reached the peak, the apex of his hero's journey. He has finished his shonen storyline. He sits at the top. But what happens? He gets sent back Samurai Jack style right before he reaches the end. And where is he placed? In the reverse upside down world where the male and female gender roles are switched. Now, hold on. Before you say, this is just some feminism bait. And while I think in some cases you might be right, I do think that this concept in itself is worth reading this 200 chapter gem. Okay? So, the man gets transported back to when he was in high school. Because at this point, it has been 300 years. He's 300 years old. He gets transported back to when he was in high school. As I said before, the roles are switched. So, females are the breadwinners, males are pretty much the equivalent of objects. Now, this manhwa comes from China, so of course it's going to be sexist as fuck. But hey, that's fine. A little bit of incel never hurt anybody, except for the people it did. That being said, the situations and character interactions we get from this are a goldmine, a comedic goldmine, if you will, because he is not from the original world that they inhabit. He has the finesse, the stoicism, the slick attitude of a badass MC that most would come to find in these trashy manga and anime titles. However, that goes against the grain, and it's very funny to see most of the women go, "What can a man do?" It's pretty good trash, so I would give it a solid watch. He also somehow gets a harem. Now, if you liked My Next Life as a Villainess, that one isekai that came out a couple seasons ago, where the main character was isekai'd, of course, into the Otome game villain, then you'll probably like this one. Main character is transported to the stepmother of a Snow White type character, or Cinderella type character, whatever you will, where the stepmother used to be super nasty and whatnot. Upon reincarnating, her attitude completely changes because she's been practically possessed by the isekai'd office worker. I think actually was a fashion designer, which is why she has a thing for the daughter, because she is built like a model pretty much. Some would say, hey, this isn't trash, this isn't the power fantasy thing I'm looking for. Well, I mean, there's only so much Chinese manhwa to go around where the main character is the Demon King and his name is Mo Fan, so I mean, sometimes you need that little bit of wholesomeness. Also, has anyone else noticed that in every Magic High School manhwa, the main character for the Chinese part of it is named Mo Fan? Just Mo Fan everywhere. Anyway, I would give this one a solid read. It's at 24 chapters right now, and every chapter has kept me thoroughly intrigued, especially the latest chapter, and it left on a cliffhanger, so I'm waiting for the next chapter to come out next week. And moving on, here's an honorable mention, Doku Zakura. This was the manga that gave me the idea for this video, seeing as before this, I wasn't expecting to make this video at all, right? But I was just strolling through my favorite manga pirating website, and I had stumbled across this, and I thought to myself, wow, this is pretty interesting. The main character has sort of a dating sim power ability that allows him to see the affection of everyone that everyone has towards him, or the hatred or whatever in sort of levels. So we can tell if someone's lying, or if someone's dodging a question, or if someone's really interested in him, right? And all of that is cool, but then something strange happens. Another person shows up with a power, and it's his childhood friend. However, because of some circumstances, she is a 6-year-old trapped in a 20-year-old's body and has the killer tendencies that a child with power would have, because he is not the only one to possess an ability. She possesses an ability too that is far more deadlier, one that allows her to control anybody. And now, while you might say, does she want to kill him? And no, she doesn't want to kill him, she wants to kill anyone near him, because for her, instead of it being from an affection rating of 0 to 100, her affection rating towards him is 10,096,000. Now, if that wasn't bad shit crazy enough, she's got them eyes. She's got the crazy eyes, the yandere eyes that make my heart go aflutter. And I will say, this is a solid read. It is not a manhwa, it is a manga, but give it a shot if you really do like the yandere genre. And lastly, we have Trapped in a Web Novel as a good for nothing. That title says it all. Man gets isekai'd into the equivalent world of Solo Leveling. I would have put Solo Leveling on this list, but I didn't really see much of a point. Most people who read manhwa already know about Solo Leveling, so what really is the point in that? But Trapped in a Web Novel is good for nothing is pretty good. It's if the main character was isekai'd, but he had read Solo Leveling beforehand, so he knows what to do. Now, I say this, but there's no concrete villain in Solo Leveling, but in this web novel there is, the one he read at least, so he turns into that villain. Now you're probably seeing a trend of people getting isekai'd into villains, but he gets isekai'd into this villain, and he has to live through the tragic backstory and all the hardships that villain had to face, and knowing all of what he has to do, while also strengthening himself and preparing himself for what's to come, because not only does he have to prepare himself for whenever the hero decides to use the plot armor on him, he also has to prepare himself for anything else that happens in the world that would affect him. Because he is not the big bad of the series. He is not the final boss. He is the first boss that happens towards the end of the first arc. Not even the final boss of the first arc. He is below that. He is the almost the henchman of the big bad, if you will. Sort of how Oasis and Green Day were to Diavolo. Like, almost there, but not really. So, it's very interesting seeing how his journey progresses. And with that, those are my recommendations. Let me know in the comments below any manhwa I should read, any trashy ones, anything that you find particularly good. Let me know what you guys thought about those manhwa. If you read the first couple chapters, maybe you thought my taste is shit, and hey, that's fine, bro. I eat garbage for a living, honestly. I want to eat garbage for a living. But either way, like, subscribe, have yourself a damn good one. 316 out.